If you want something said, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman. Power is like being a lady. If you have to tell people you are, you aren't. You may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. Plan your work for today and every day, then work your plan. If you set out to be liked, you would be prepared to compromise on anything at any time, and you would achieve nothing. Don't follow the crowd, let the crowd follow you. I always cheer up immensely if an attack is particularly wounding because I think, well, if they attack one personally, it means they have not a single political argument left. Europe was created by history. America was created by philosophy. Standing in the middle of the road is very dangerous, you get knocked down by the traffic from both sides. The problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money. Disciplining yourself to do what you know is right and important, although difficult, is the high road to pride, self-esteem, and personal satisfaction. It may be the cock that crows, but it is the hen that lays the eggs. I am extraordinarily patient, provided I get my own way in the end. It's a funny old world. I wasn't lucky, I deserved it. I love argument, I love debate. I don't expect anyone just to sit there and agree with me, that's not their job. You and I come by road or rail, but economists travel on infrastructure. A world without nuclear weapons would be less stable and more dangerous for all of us. What is success? I think it is a mixture of having a flair for the thing that you're doing, knowing that it is not enough, that you have got to have hard work and a certain sense of purpose. I like Mr. Gorbachev, we can do business together. To me, consensus seems to be the process of abandoning all beliefs, principles, values and policies. So it is something in which no one believes and to which no one objects. There is no such thing as society, there are individual men and women, and there are families. I do not know anyone who has got to the top without hard work. That is the recipe. It will not always get you to the top, but should get you pretty near. Any woman who understands the problems of running a home will be nearer to understanding the problems of running a country. When I'm out of politics, I'm going to run a business, it'll be called Rent a Spine. If my critics saw me walking over the Thames, they would say it was because I couldn't swim. Pennies do not come from heaven. They have to be earned here on earth. The spirit of envy can destroy, it can never build. It used to be about trying to do something. Now it's about trying to be someone. To cure the British disease with socialism was like trying to cure leukemia with leeches. I seem to smell the stench of appeasement in the air. You don't tell deliberate lies, but sometimes you have to be evasive. This lady is not for turning. I usually make up my mind about a man in 10 seconds, and I very rarely change it. To wear your heart on your sleeve isn't a very good plan, you should wear it inside, where it functions best. No woman in my time will be Prime Minister or Chancellor or Foreign Secretary, not the top jobs. Anyway, I wouldn't want to be Prime Minister, you have to give yourself 100%. People think that at the top there isn't much room. They tend to think of it as an Everest. My message is that there is tons of room at the top. If Many influential people have failed to understand, or have just forgotten, what we were up against in the Cold War and how we overcame it. They are not going to be capable of securing, let alone enlarging, the gains that liberty has made. If you want to cut your own throat, don't come to me for a bandage. Being Prime Minister is a lonely job. You cannot lead from the crowd. I am in politics because of the conflict between good and evil, and I believe that in the end good will triumph. Nothing is more obstinate than a fashionable consensus. No one would remember the Good Samaritan if he'd only had good intentions. He had money as well. There can be no liberty unless there is economic liberty. Every family should have the right to spend their money, after tax, as they wish, and not as the government dictates. Let us extend choice, extend the will to choose and the chance to choose. The facts of life are conservative. One of the things being in politics has taught me is that men are not a reason or reasonable sex. I've got a woman's ability to stick to a job and get on with it when everyone else walks off and leaves it. I just owe almost everything to my father, and it's passionately interesting for me that the things that I learned in a small town, in a very modest home, are just the things that I believe have won the election. It pays to know the enemy, not least because at some time you may have the opportunity to turn him into a friend. If you lead a country like Britain, a strong country, a country which has taken a lead in world affairs in good times and in bad, a country that is always reliable, then you have to have a touch of iron about you. I owe nothing to women's lib. It is not the creation of wealth that is wrong, but the love of money for its own sake. Of course, it's the same old story. Truth usually is the same old story. Democratic nations must try to find ways to starve the terrorist and the hijacker of the oxygen of publicity on which they depend. We were told our campaign wasn't sufficiently slick. We regard that as a compliment. What Britain needs is an iron lady. The battle for women's rights has been largely won. Platitudes? Yes, there are platitudes. Platitudes are there because they are true. I don't mind how much my ministers talk, so long as they do what I say. We conservatives hate unemployment.